Thank you so much. So I'm Ackim Antony Njobvu. I'm Chief Financial Officer for Marsh. Marsh is the world's leading insurance broking company. I joined this company 7 years ago, and next month I'll be clocking 7 years. And so when I clock my 7 years, I've decided to leave because 7 stands for completion. And in terms of my background, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a fellow of CCA and Zika. Then also I'm a flight engineer. I used to be in the Air Force, fixing planes for the president. I'm also a chartered global investment analyst, and I'm also an economist, as well as an insurance practitioner. So I've got quite a number of qualifications to my name, which help me to make good decisions in the business environment, in the social environment, and in many other places. So I've had a good career path. I was born in Livingstone. I come from a humble background. I grew up in Livingstone, where I did my primary school at Zambezi Primary. I did my grade 1 to 7 at Zambezi Primary. Then when we lost our mother, our father could not keep us in Livingstone. He said, I need to go near to where my relatives are. And that's how we moved to Chipata. So when we moved to Chipata, there I studied my secondary school at Hillside Secondary School. So I've only been to 2 schools, primary at Zambezi and secondary at Hillside Secondary School. So that's about my background. Then after that, when I finished my grade 12 in Chipata there was a time we were going to the village with my father in Chiwoko there. So when we were, I think, in the vehicle when we were going there, then my father saw a place where ZAF was doing a recruitment. They were doing a nationwide recruitment for aircraft technicians. So as we were going to the village, my father said, when we come back, you should come and try. So I said, okay, I'll come and try. So that's how, when we came back, I think some few days later, I went to try, and that's how I was picked. So immediately I left, I finished my grade 12, I had this opportunity to join the Air Force as a air technician. So that's how I joined the Air Force. I went for military training in Mbala. We did our military training for 8 months. Then from there we moved to Mumba, where we did the aircraft engineering course, which I did for 2.5 years. Because I was the best student there, I was posted to the Presidential Squadron of the Air Force in Zaf Lusaka, where I finally became the flight engineer on the presidential helicopter. So that's about my career. Then with time, I think in the process of being a flight engineer, I decided to do something different, because I think I discovered that maybe that was not the best. I wasn't going to reach the limit or the apex where I wanted to be. So that's how I started doing accounts, that is SCCA. The funny thing about it is that when we started the journey to study accounts, we were about 10 of us, and I'm sure the other guys even started before me. But surprisingly, I'm the only one who finished the course after, I think, about 3.5 years, 3 or 4 years. The other ones could not finish on time, others dropped off on the way. So me, I finished my SCCA studies in 2008. Then the next one who followed me finished in, I think, in 2013 or 15. So I think 5 years later, that's when they finished. So that's how tough SCCA is. And it requires a lot of commitment, a lot of sacrifice. Because I think at that time, being a civil servant, I think the salary wasn't enough to sustain a professional course or study towards accounting. SCCA is quite expensive. So in the process, I remember I started selling airtime to my workmates to be able to sustain myself. I said, I just need to finish what I have started, because I'm one person. When I decide to start something, I'll make sure that I finish it. No matter how aggressive it becomes to me, or no matter how difficult it becomes, I'm very determined to finish anything that I start. So that's how I started selling airtime to support myself to gather the salary, until finally I was able to finish the qualifications. So I was quite excited to be the first to finish amongst the many who had started this journey. So I think that's a brief background. Then after I finished my SC in 2008, I wanted to what we call in the Air Force to remaster, to go to accounts from engineering, but they refused. They say no, engineering is the apex of the profession in the Air Force, so we don't downgrade people. People need to be promoted or to be elevated. So that's how I couldn't get an opportunity to go to the accounts department. But instead, I think I had an opportunity to go to the mess. That's where it's like a social club. So that's where I went to practice my accounting. I became the treasurer there for about 2 years. Then when I'd clocked 10 years, I decided to leave. So then that's how I left. I stayed, I think, in the compound for about a year. A lot of struggles here and there, but finally God saw me through. I got an opportunity at Selpay, where I joined them as an internal auditor. So I worked for Selpay for 6 months. But again, in the process, when I joined Selpay, the colleague of mine were the two of us. So when we joined Selpay, we had this lady, I think she came from South Africa from studies. So we are working, and I think she got an opportunity at Mayfair. I think she was supposed to get an opportunity at Mayfair Insurance Company. But unfortunately, she wasn't a chartered accountant. So the MD there said, I want a chartered accountant, not just an ordinary accountant. So that's how she mentioned my name. So I've got a friend who is a chartered accountant, maybe we'll give him an opportunity. And that's how I went to see the managing director at Mayfair. And after the chat that we had, he was impressed with my qualifications. And that's how they gave me an opportunity. So I started my journey at Mayfair, and after 6 years after that, I got an opportunity to be here where I am at Marsh. So that has been about my career. I think I've had a successful career, both from the engineering perspective and the accounting perspective, which has given me opportunity to study other things. The reason why I diversified into other fields is because when I joined Mayfair, I joined in a managerial position. So I thought for me to be able to provide good decisions or guidance, I needed to understand the economic environment. So that's how I started studying economics, and that's how I got my master's degree at the University of Lusaka, so that I better advise my bosses, I better advise the board. So that's how I studied economics. Then on the way, another opportunity came for me to study investments. Since I'm in finance, why not study investments? After all, everyone wants to invest. So that's how I engaged onto another journey to do investments until I finished. Then later on, again, I said, I'm in insurance. Why should I not get the qualification in insurance? So that I can understand, I can best provide advice. And of course, I'm one person who doesn't like to be cheated. If you are in your profession, I'll make sure that I have to understand your profession, so that when you advise me, you should not lie to me. I should be able to understand. On a lighter note, I remember that time there was COVID. There was this IT manager in a certain company. He went to his MD and said, no, we've been hardworking, so we've innovated something. We've created Zoom so that we can have meetings online. But meanwhile, I was lying to the MD because Zoom has been there. It's a company in the US. So if you don't understand certain things, people will lie to you that this is an innovation. Maybe even promote them or commend them or something better for something that they haven't done. So when you're in an environment, make sure that you understand what goes into that environment so that you are not lied to. So that's about my career, that's what I can say. So I grew up from a Christian background, Catholic by faith. So my father is one person who emphasized us to go to church because he wanted disciplined children. So every Sunday would go, the whole of the family would go to church. That was in Livingstone. We used to congregate at St. Francis Parish, which is just along Nakatindi Road in Livingstone. So grew up from a humble background. You know, civil servants, they don't earn much. But my father would also sacrifice because he had many children. I come from a family where we are six boys and 1 girl. So in terms of the upbringing, my father made sure that all of his children went to school. Even at the time he would lack, he would deny himself of certain things to make sure that his children went to school. So we grew up from a Christian background and emphasized discipline, emphasized love for one another. When you see the other friend lacks something, be able to provide. So I must be quick to mention, you see, there's one friend who I usually remember to pray for. I remember that time, I think I didn't have good shoes in primary in Livingstone. This guy brought me brand new shoes, very nice shoes. And those shoes, I think, up to today, I still remember. So well, I don't know where this person is, but I always remember to pray for him. Whenever I'm praying to God, asking God for good things for myself, whenever I'm asking God to forgive me for the wrongs that I've done, I remember this person. I only remember that it's Simon, but I don't know where this person is, but I usually remember to pray for him, because for what he did to me, I think it touched me. It helped me on my journey. You see, sometimes the education can be difficult when you lack certain things that help you to go, especially shoes. Shoes are a very important part of the uniform. And for me, it was a great motivation. I was really excited. For me, I think past 20, 25 years from that time, if I still remember somebody, then you know what mark this person made in my life. So that's about my primary journey. Of course, we grew up in Livingstone. Livingstone is a very nice town, very quiet town. So we had the opportunity to play around in Livingstone, to do a bit of sports, the chimpombwa that we used to play as the young kids. And that's the life that we have lived. So until after the time when we lost our mother, then that's how we moved to Chipata, where we are now a whole different life. When we went there, we struggled quite a lot. We struggled quite a lot because I think where we reached, I think the house wasn't good. We had a lot of mosquitoes. I still remember that encounter. We moved to a farm. We had a lot of challenges. At one point, we even lived in a house which had no roofing, So that's a humble background that I've lived. I remember there was a time when during the rain season, when it started raining, where you wake up in the night, you get your uniform, you stand by. There used to be one iron sheet in the house where you would stand and hold your uniform until the rain goes. And that's how we prepare in the morning to go to school. I used to walk a long distance, I think, from the farms to Hillside Secondary. It used to take me, I remember it was about an hour and 10 minutes trekking in the morning and in the afternoon. So I really treasured the people who have supported me on this journey. It was a bit of a struggle, but I think for everything that we go through, I'm a Christian, I believe that there's a purpose. When I look behind, I see that God was trying to build a certain character within me, a character which cares for others, a character that understands people when they are struggling. Because sometimes the weakness that we have as human beings is when you see somebody struggling, when you see other people who haven't made it in life, you think they are lazy, or you may think otherwise, but sometimes it's just opportunities, or sometimes it's just part of their journey in life. So usually people misconstrue suffering sometimes that people are lazy or what, but it's not about that. It's about the path that God has defined us. You see certain things that happen, we sometimes do not know our destiny. We do not know where we'll end up in life, but God himself knows. He says he knows the end from the beginning. So when God knows the end from the beginning, he makes sure that he will pass through a certain path that will shape you up. God's shaping is usually to shape the heart, to shape the character, because that's what makes great men. So that's what I can say about my growing up. Thank you. In addition to that, you see, I used to do so well in school, in primary. I remember I used to pass number one always. Then when I went to secondary, I remember I used to teach my maths teacher. She was Japanese. I used to teach my maths teacher. When she makes mistakes in math, I would correct her. But once something surprised me. When we wrote the grade 12 exam, I didn't get a distinction. I didn't get a 1, I got a 3. So I don't know what happened within the process, but I remember during the mock exams, I even got some awards. I was very good in geography as well as mathematics. So that's about me. I think I've got some few awards from primary. I've got some award from the technician when I used to be a flight engineer. When in the Air Force, I got some awards in the journey in my studies. I was very committed, and one of them, the ambition that I had was I wanted to become a fighter pilot. I wanted to fly jets. So I thought maybe I could become a crack pilot who could fly the MiGs at some point. But the journey changed, because sometimes you want something, then again you have to find yourself in another route. Okay, yes. So of course, I think the main activity that I used to participate in was football, though not really at school, but in the compound where I used to stay. Because I think I was a very focused and very determined kid. So at school, I never used to play around. I know we'd do those sports, those normal part of physical training. But the soccer that I would do was when away from school. Then later on, I think I'm one person who liked fishing, and later on I liked swimming. So these have been most of the things that I used to do in my childhood, especially fishing. Fishing has been a very good activity for me. I remember the time we went to Chipata where we used to stay, there was a dam nearby, so we'd spend most of the times fishing if we had free time. So in terms of sport, I think I used to love soccer, but later on I think I started like pulling out because I developed that fear that I can break your leg and will not finish school. So that's how I pulled out. But that's more of what I used to do. Thank you. Okay, so when I started my career as an engineer in the Air Force, we had this challenge which also contributed to me deciding to go into accounts. When we went to Zaflusaka, they were not ready for us. They didn't give us good accommodation, so we ended up staying in tents at Zaf Twin Palm there. So whilst staying there, I think thoughts started coming in to say maybe this is not where ultimately you wanted to be, because you see you've been hardworking. You see, when you know what you want in life, you are focused, and you focus on it. So whilst there, then I decided to say no. Ultimately, I think this is not a place where I need to be. Moreover, I thought that I will never be the air commander since I'm on the other side of the officers. So that's how I decided to do SCCA. So when I decided to do SCCA, I finished. Then later on, I began to have some dreams where I used to see myself in the political landscape. So then those dreams continued until at some point I began to start praying over them. And then that's how the political party was born. And this happened some 12, 13 years ago. So that's how we decided to set up this political party, the Democratic Union. So the Democratic Union, we started, I think, the process. I had these visions, and you see, you are all Christians. The good thing about it is that I used to have these, when I had these visions of seeing myself in the political landscape, I began to pray about it. And the exciting thing that used to happen is that when I am praying, I would receive ideas or what I would call inspirations of what I need to come and do when I finally find myself in this political arena. So that's how I started writing my manifesto. So my manifesto has been written from that point of a spiritual encounter. So that's how I began to write until I came up with at a point where I decided to register a political party. So when we decided to register a political party, initially I wanted to register it as a Christian Democratic Union because of where I was coming from. I thought maybe God needs to be recognized on set. So we decided to register that, but we couldn't get that name because of the existing Christian Democratic Party. So that's how we settled for the name Democratic Union. So I am the president, and on that journey, which I think we got our certificate. We started the registration process in January, and then got our certificate in October after I think the government were convinced that we are good people. We are not bad people. So that's how we got our certificate, and in 4th day of December, we launched our party, and we received the overwhelming support from Zambians, from the media. So I think the party began to grow from that time. Besides just the few numbers that we were when we decided to register the political party. Until today, we've grown. We've made some structures in most of these provinces, and finally now we are participating in our first by-election. So we thought we could take part so that we see that we are a determined political party, very focused. So we've got quite a number of issues that we want to address as Democratic Union, especially you, the youths. You can see I'm a young man who loves the country. So one thing I must say, you see, those of us who have had an opportunity to serve in the defense forces, we love our country. Our heart is usually to the country. The first thing that we do when you've got an opportunity to betray your country for anything, your heart is to the country. So we are very loyal to the country and we love our country. When the country is struggling, we become affected because we say this is our only home, the only home that we have, so which we think we need to take care of. So that's how the Democratic Union has been born, through the past, the history of my life, and past other experiences, to be where I am today, for me to love this country, for me to decide to look at this and that. So we've got a number of things that we want to do, especially for the youths. I must mention that besides employment creation that we want to bring about, because our focus is to create a new Zambia, what we are calling a new Zambia. So we are thinking of transforming Zambia. Zambia has lagged behind. If you look at our peers, when we got independence in 1964, Zambia was better off in terms of GDP per capita, better off than China. So if you look at where China is, then it gives you a picture of how much we haven't worked hard for this country. So it means, yes, there's been presidents and other people who have been in leadership, but they have not done as much to be able to take us to a place where we need to be. See where China is today. So it's a laughable matter for me to be comparing Zambia and China. You say, Ackim, you're not thinking well. Why can you compare Zambia and China? But I'm supposed to compare because at the time we got independence, we're better off than China. But China has worked through innovation. They have worked hard, through hard work and innovation, they are where they are today. And during my launch, I had mentioned that, you see, for countries to develop, they need to be focused. And also, Zambia being a Christian nation, I had given an example of the United States of America. The United States of America had great leaders like the George Washington, who committed the country in the hands of God. They even declared days to honor God in praise and thanksgiving. And to affirm that, they put the acronym "In God We Trust" on the dollar bill to show how serious they were with God. So what does that mean? They said, God, you need to lead us on this journey. They understood their limitations and they understood that they had a bigger battle. It's not easy to develop a country, so you need certain spiritual support that you need for you, because alone you can't do it. Imagine the troubles, the challenges that this country is going through. If you just go on the seat there thinking that you are wise, thinking that you are rich, thinking that you are intelligent, you turn around this country, you are lying, you are cheating yourself. So you need the God himself to be able to help you. So that's how America has been built. And we see today everyone admires America. So it's not that those people are intelligent, but they focused, they asked God to be their guide and pillar on that development agenda which they had. So that's the same vision that we have. So we're talking about God being in the forefront in helping us transform this country. Then also copying from the Chinese, that the Chinese have told us that we learn from the Chinese that hard work and innovation is actually the recipe for transformation of a country. So these two things, God being our pillar, spiritual integrity and the hard work, combined together, we should be able to transform Zambia. So our focus is that we want to set up strategic operations in the key areas, 4 key areas of our economy, that is mining, agriculture, construction, as well as technology, where we want to create massive jobs. So the focus is that these corporations will be spread in all the 10 provinces. That will create massive employment opportunities, especially for the youth, those who have qualified and have these opportunities. So besides that, what we want also youths to participate. So we want to make a reserve of 30% of the roles to be given to the youths. So besides the youths being part of the central government, we want to give them a district commissioner roles. So all the district commissioners in Zambia will be youths, so that then they participate in the management as well as the transformation of the country, so that we also begin to shape leaders who are going to take over the country at some point, so that you also become responsible in building your own country, so that you don't spend a lot of time just on TikTok looking at funny videos, so you contribute positively. So that's what I can say about this political journey. So I think I would still summarize that into 3 things. So the first thing is there's what you need to be focused. Apart from being focused, you need to have patience. Then you need you need to sacrifice a bit, because the journey is interesting. It can also be tough. So there's need for sacrifice. There's a need for patience, then there's also a need for discipline. So for you to be fearless, that means you need to set goals that are a bit high, something that looks almost impossible to you. So those are some of the goals that you need to set for yourself as a youth. You need to be focused. Imagine if you set a goal that is easy to attain, then you won't have that drive. You won't have that impetus to focus on what you want to achieve. Then, like I mentioned, that you need God's help in whatever journey that you are taking on. Sometimes we think that we can do certain things by ourselves, but I think certain things are quite difficult. The reality of life is that we've got, yes, this physical life that we have, but then we've got the spiritual realm, which has got a more powerful force. So it also directs its own ways in which things must move. So yes, be fearless, still dedicate time to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning, you see, one thing I've learned is that sometimes it may not be good for you to just focus on one career path. You need to diversify. Diversification is quite good, but because it helps you in terms of getting opportunities. Like, look at me, I've got about 5 professional qualifications. So if I leave accounts, I can still go to be an economist. I can still go back to be an aviation engineer. I can still go and be an insurance practitioner. I can still do investments, can open up a capital fund. So all this gives me opportunities to be able to take up opportunities. Like the Bible says, I think it's in Ecclesiastes, where it says, invest in 7, don't just invest in 1. So you need to invest in 7 things, because you don't know which one will work out. So it's better you try a lot of things, then the one that works out, that's the one which you focus on. So it is good to commit to lifelong learning. What was the other one? So there's one which talks about be fearless. So you see, on this journey, there are a lot of things that distract us. There are a lot of things that we want to sway us. So the first thing that you need is to be focused, and of course to be certain things. You will find that those things will start maybe pushing you away. But once you are focused, or once you know what you want to achieve, because many voices speak. This voice will say this voice will say that. But you have to know which voice you need to listen to. So the moment you make a decision that I want to take this path, make sure that you are focused. So when we say be fearless is to be determined to achieve that which you have set for yourself. People will say, no, you can't achieve this, you can't get this, or this is being too ambitious. But when you set something for yourself, when you set a goal for yourself, make sure that you focus on that goal. Many voices will speak, though some positive, some negative, others will discourage you, others may even help you to support you. But most of the voices that are speak are the ones that discourage you. So that's why you need to be fearless. Then also you need to trust God, that God will never put you on a path that you are not able to succeed. Because God will always make sure that the path that you are on, will always succeed. If you set on something, the moment you just find that you have found yourself in a space where you have started something, just know that then that path or that thing that you have set on is achievable. Because sometimes when God says, no, you can't do this, He will make sure that He blocks you, don't even start it. So that's one thing that you need to do when you are a youth who's still looking for a way in which to determine life. Opportunities are many. I've heard many people discourage people to say working is not good. No, so me, I've got a different perception about work life. So it is good to do business, yes, of course, because the business has got good returns, where business can make you get the things that you want of life easily, but it's not an easy place. So it depends where you're starting from. If you've got an opportunity to go straight into business, then you can set on into business, especially if you've got a good coach who might be your father or somebody near who may tell you the truth. Because certain businesses, again, they look clean, but they are not clean. There are a lot of filthy things that also happen in business, just like a human being. There are times you look at humans being to be good people, but inside of what they do, they are bad things. So even businesses, that's what the businesses are. You can admire a good, strong business, but you don't know what they do behind the scenes. So when you are growing up as a youth, you need to know which path you want to set on, whether you want to take the route of business or you want to take the route of being an employee. But the best route, of course, is the route of business. but sometimes you may not have the resources to start a business. So what I advise young people is that when you've got an opportunity to work, make sure that you know why you are working. I was telling somebody to say, you see, when you're in a work environment, two things that you must do in that workplace. Besides building connections, first of all, you must build your skills. You must get certain skills from the place where you are working. It doesn't matter what type of job you are doing. Then you are in that same workplace. Remember to put something aside, a small capital. Look at what you can do with the money that you earn. Don't consume everything, but don't even save. I don't encourage saving. I encourage you investing in something. So when you start a small business, you are learning. You see, business is also about learning the art of doing business. Business doesn't usually always work, but at least the moment you try something, you fail several times, you are learning, you become a better manager of that business. So sometimes it's good to learn to fail, to do business and fail when you are working, because you've got a job that is giving you the safety, that is providing for you. Unlike when you just go straight into business, when you fail, these are some of those are instances where people end up sometimes committing suicide because they've got nowhere to run to. And the good thing about unemployment is that it gives you an opportunity to be able to get capital from the banks. Why is it easy for you to get capital from the bank? Because your employment is surety, your employment is security. So when you go to the bank as an employee, they quickly process the capital for you so that you can invest into business. So usually they say from 8 to 7, you can work on the employment that you have. Then after that, use part of that time to be able to explore business opportunities that you can engage in. So that's the message that I have for the youth, that you need to be focused. You see, when you haven't passed through sometimes in this work environment, there are certain skills or certain character that may be lacking in you. I've seen businessmen who are running a business, they get income. After they get the money from the business, they get that money, they go for holidays, forgetting to pay employees. So imagine if you've got those skills, you know how businesses are run. You've worked in an environment where you know an employee needs to get his salary on this and that. So you get certain HR skills that you take now to your business. So you find that the experience that you've gotten from employment, you use it to build your own investment or your own business, and then you become a better business owner than the one who would have just rushed into owning a business. So both things require discipline ultimately. That's what I can say for now. Yep.
Before we wrap up, one last question.
Yes.
You highlight one of the most lessons you've learned, and what would you advise someone if a person was found in that same situation?
Okay. So I think one of the lessons that I've learned is that good things do not come easily, and the struggles are real in life. You need to be focused, you need to be determined. When I joined Mayfair Insurance, I'd found the company was quite in a bad shape. So what happened is that I found the accountant that was there had decided to get leave. When he got leave, that's how he went. He never came back for work. So when I joined that company, I found it in a mess. There are a lot of issues that were not in order. So when I looked at it, I was also new in the insurance sector. So I thought maybe I could also just run away, not come back. I said, because I was asking myself, why did I come here? Why did I come here to mess myself up like this? But then I think after I went to home to pray, I got this confidence to say, you can manage this. So that's how I approached my boss, that I would need some extra things. I asked that he would be buying me dinner and he would be giving me some fuel for my car so that I could sort out the problems that I found. So I did not run away from the problems that I found at that point, because those same problems were a gateway to my career success. Because the moment I sorted out those problems, more door opportunities opened for me, more rewards came my way because of that achievement, that because of the score that I had made for myself. So most times you encounter challenges, you encounter difficulties. Those are opportunities for you. Once you overcome those opportunities, you find that the reward is greater. It opens up more opportunities for you. So whenever you're faced with a challenge, make sure that you face it head on. Make sure that you get the required support you need to overcome that challenge. then once you overcome that challenge, you find that you are in a successful position.
Thank you. And lastly, would you share with us your favorite motivational quote or a scripture that provides comfort and brings you up to speed every day?
Okay. So, in terms of motivation, I like this scripture that is Isaiah 45, verse 2, that is verse 2, 3, and 4, which talks about God going before you. It talks about God going before you to level the mountains, to break down the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron, and give you hidden treasures and riches stored in secret places. So it shows that the challenges that we encounter in life, we are able to overcome them if we walk on this journey with God. Life can be difficult. Life is not easy. So you need certain support. You need spiritual support. You need spiritual guidance. You need some confidence for you to be able to overcome the challenges of life. So I think this is the scripture that I usually refer to when especially faced with difficulties and challenges, because God has promised that He will go before us to level the mountains. So mountains are the challenges that we face in life. And then the greatest motivation that I think I would give to you is that you have to be fearless. You have to be fearless. Most of the good opportunities that are there in life, you find that you have to be courageous to get them. You have to be courageous for you to succeed in life. There's no career path, there's no business that is easy. There's nothing that is easy in this life. There's this famous quote that I like to say that there's nothing free in life, not even in Freetown. There's nothing free. So everything you have to earn it, everything you have to work hard for it, for you to be able to get whatever you want. So be fearless, of course. Trust God, commit to lifelong learning, and grab whatever you want to grab in life. But of course, remember that God has promised that He will go before us to level the mountains. So when you find difficulties, just know that those difficulties have been worked on by God already. So you just have to do a little work and be able to overcome and earn the reward. Thank you. Okay. Anything? Okay. Maybe in terms of the party, maybe just to make a special appeal to the youths. I think mine is the appeal to the youths of this country. You see, our parents, our fathers have done their best, but of course this country is not transformed, is not competitive to the levels where we want it to be. So my appeal is to the youth to join Democratic Union, a party which looks at innovation, wants to take innovation seriously, because most of the challenges that we face as a country are due to lack of innovation, and I believe innovation rests with the youth. One of the things that we want to do is to come up with a cooperation, strategic cooperation, which we are calling the National Technology and Innovation Cooperation. So this cooperation will be focused on nurturing ideas that the youths come up with. We're even looking at opening an office which we are calling the Innovator General. So that's how serious we are. So most of the innovation rests with the youths. So we want the youths to come on board to be able to build our own country. This is our country. We don't have another home. We don't have another place that we can call home. We only have Zambia. So Mother Zambia needs us, needs a commitment of the youths. So we want to appeal the youths from all provinces to be able to come on board, to come and join Democratic Union, so that we can put together our ideas, we can put together and come up with something good and great for our country. So the youths, this is a special appeal to you. You are not the future, like we've always said. The time is now for you to come on board. Time is now for you to participate. because you can see we've got certain ministers who we can point out to say they've been to government for 20 years. So when there are times when you run out of ideas. You run out of ideas. There's nothing new you can offer. So when the country has reached at such a level, we need new brains, we need new ideas, we need new solutions to be able to solve the problems that we are facing as a country today. And I believe innovation, I still repeat that innovation lies with the youths. That's why we are making this special appeal to the youth, that you are the ones who have that mind. You have that mind to innovate. You are the ones who are seeing the challenges. You are the one who are remaining with many more years to live. You've got 50 years, 60 years ahead of you. So you want to define your future now, when you are given this opportunity in Democratic Union to define that future, to see to it that Zambia is transformed. Thank you.